today we are going to handle CSV files. Okay, so this week full of files only. CSV files, then we'll go with Excel files.
Okay.
But today we will be handling CSV files. So why we need a CSV files? Why not Excel files?
CSV, I mean, both look same.
But what I got it right, in my project also we are facing some problems that we don't have Excel inside. So maybe we are going for this
CSV
files only.
Is it because Excel is, I mean, if it is a different platform, then CSV will be helpful. I mean, Excel may not be, if it is iOS, then Excel may not be that compatible compared to CSV.
Right. So this was the issue some months or years back. Okay, it's something like Excel is owned by Microsoft, and if we run it on the Linux or a Mac, we will not be able to use those products, right? So this was the issue they were facing, but recently they have resolved it. Even in Mac and Linux also, they can use Excel files. So, but this was the major reason why CSV was introduced. Okay. And second part is like for handling, for example, for opening a Excel file, you need a certain packages, right?
Yeah.
For example, Microsoft Office. Okay, if you are handling with a .xlsx format, but if you are handling with a different formats of a spreadsheet, then you need different offices, something like Open Office or something like that. Okay, but so unless we have this particular package or tool, we will not be able to handle this one. So they have introduced this CSV. So CSV is not a related with a spreadsheet. Okay, it might open in your spreadsheet, like it may open in an Excel sheet. Okay, when we save that file. Okay, but it is not a Excel format sheets. It's basically a comma separated sheets. Yesterday we were seeing the JSON data, right? Similar to this one, we will be having a commas. Okay, so whenever there's a comma, that is considered as a new value. Okay, so for this purpose, let's create a new, inside this file utils, let's create a new file called CSV. CSV utils.ts, so that this CSV file should contain every single operation performed on the CSV files. Okay, something like a reading, writing, updating. Okay, such kind of things. So we can write it, but before that, for a moment's sake, I'll copy the class structure. So for this purpose also you need FS. Okay, FS is a file system. So whatever file you are going to read from your system, you definitely need a FS module, file system module. Okay, so one more thing I want to ask, like, why are we using export here?
Otherwise, you want to import in other classes, right? And in the spec file, it will be difficult if you want.
Right. So it is something like we are telling like it's a public class. You can use it in other spec files in other classes.
Okay.
So I have created a new file called CSV spec. So I'm going to copy this same JSON file into here. Okay. Now rather than doing this processes, just I want to have a simple process. Okay. So here we do not have a FS. Let's import FS required. FS dot read file sync, if I'm not wrong. So now here we have to give the path of the file, and then yeah, that's it with the sync file. But in case if we are using async, means we have to go with we have to go with the function, and then we have to capture error in case of errors. Otherwise, if it is a data, otherwise if it is a valid file, then we will receive the data in the another variable. So for this one, we have to create one Excel or CSV file. So for example, in data files, let's create a new file called CSV data.csv. Okay. For example, here I can write something like Karthi Chercher Tech 11 months. Okay, so you can see we have separated every value with comma. Okay, so this is one. If there is no new line, for example, if there is no new line, means it will be considered as one single row. Okay, the moment if we go for a new line, it will be considered as a new row, or you can say it as new record.
Okay.
Okay, now I want to read this particular file into system. For example, let's go to this place in Explorer, and then now you can see it. The logo comes as an Excel, right?
Yeah.
If I open it, it will come as Excel only, like it will open in Excel file. In this one, you can see all the values are stored in different columns. Okay, name, and then website name, and then number of months it's been started. Okay, even though we have written it comma separated, but it got opened in a spreadsheet. Okay, so every operating system will have their own default packages for opening this CSV file formats. Okay, now let's read this file into our system, which is CSV spec. Okay, for example, CSV-data.csv. Okay, this is our file name, and for escaping the sequence, we will be using one more slash. Okay, now if I store this particular thing in a variable, it will be something like string something. Okay, now I am storing it here. Now just I want to showcase only one thing, like how the thing will look like when we don't use anything. Okay, when we don't use any package. Okay, let's copy this one and change the conf file. So just make sure that our compilation is running in the background. It will open Google, and then it will read this particular file. Okay, and it will print entire thing if it reads something. Okay, if it's not reading anything, means it will not print anything.
Pawan, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you are using the where, sometimes you are using the let, right? I'm checking the Google, but I'm not able to find the correct answer.
The thing is like when you are using JavaScript, use where.
Okay.
When you are using what do you call when you are using TypeScript, use let. Okay, it will not be that much big thing actually. Okay, you can use any of it. Anything is fine, but once you start using one particular kind, then use that kind only.
Okay, Pawan.
Okay, so it was printing everything in the buffer. Okay, so how to convert this buffer into a string, even I do not know.
I'm parsing sometimes.
not parse string, but let's use the decoding. Okay, UTF-8. Okay, even I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to handle the CSV file without using any packages. Mostly it will work because previously it was reading in the byte format. Now it will read in the format of UTF-8. So it printed these values, right? Now, can I write it as a different, different values rather than as a single array?
Comma.
So can I use something like a split by comma?
Yes.
Now let's run. Rather than a single value, we should get an array. Now. So consider like if I have like 4 lines, okay. So how will we handle it if we have like 4 lines, something like this one?
We need to read every line, right? How?
Yes, you will not read every line, but you will read the total file.
Okay.
So all the lines are separated by the basic principle of CSV is all the values are separated by comma. All the records are separated by new line.
Okay. Okay.
New line is nothing but /n.
/n.
So if we split by /n, will we be able to get as a different rows?
Yes, bro. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to keep this in the array. Okay, again you split the values using comma.
Yeah.
The only problem you will face is when there is a value contains a comma. For example,
Yeah.
for CSV file itself, this is kind of a issue. This is a total, value code which contains the comma. Okay, that is the time you will get the issue. In remaining times, you will not get any issues. Okay, but in case, okay, if you are reading roughly means what we can do is keep every comma as a apostrophe or something. Okay. While reading a specific value, just try to remove the apostrophe and replace it with comma. Okay, so we will not be using a normal structure. We will be using there is a package called pop-up parse. Pop-up parse. Okay. npm install parse pop-up parse. Okay. So install it. Actually, here we should not install. For a moment, I'll halt it.
We need to install inside the protractor batch.
Yes. Let's go. Let's open new terminal and I'll install the new package here. Is npm install pop-up parse. Okay, it got installed. We will not get any, anything for this pop-up parse because we have not installed globally. We are installing locally. Okay. So now let's go to our old page. Okay, I'll remove this particular last line and I'll add one more thing like Sanjay. Yes. 27 days. Okay, I have added. So one more, drawback of one more drawback of the CSV file is like when you want to ignore one particular file. one particular value actually here. Okay, you cannot ignore it. You have to give the empty, something like this one. Otherwise, if you don't give, the 27 and engineer both points to the same value, because it will be considered same column.
Okay.
So this particular issue, even protractor will not get to know it. Okay. So here, instead of reading the file system, along with the reading file system, we have to bring our new package as well. Okay. For example, var papa equal to require parse. Okay. So you can keep all your import statements in the top. So if you want to access any method or anything, we have to access this from this one, this variable. Okay, I can make it like CSV model. So from the CSV model only we have to read it. So after reading this particular file, so we will be reading everything from the file system using this command only. But once we read it, we have to change it into an CSV format. Okay, that's where our CSV model, that pop-up parse model, comes into the play. Okay, so let's bring it. CSV model dot parse. We have to provide the string value, whatever we are going to change, and then we will be providing one more array kind of structure. Like we have to provide a few functions. One function actually. The function is called complete. Okay, complete will, when this particular module parses this particular string, okay, it will be in the format of string, and when we don't mention our UTF-8, it will be in the format of bytes, okay, in the format of buffer actually. So when we parse that particular string, okay, we are here trying to parse it into a CSV file, and this particular string into a CSV format. Here we are writing a complete function. Basically, complete function is nothing but after reading this particular string into a CSV format, what we should do. Okay, so we will be storing that particular value into the function. So this complete function will receive the read CSV value. Okay, so something like CSV values. So now all this, that particular string converted into CSV, right? So that will be stored on this CSV file. Okay, but here we have to go with arrow and equals and arrow. For a lambda purpose, we will be using this one. So here we can access everything, okay, present in the CSV file. So everything is stored in the CSV file. For a moment's sake, let me print it. Console.log CSV values. Okay, so let's run it. So this time we have a CSV values as Karthi, Sanjay, and Loka. Protractor. Let's run and see whether it gives any error or not.
Pawan, it will read 3 lines, right? Other we need to separate.
No, now this package, the model we are installed, it okay, will give us a different thing itself.
Okay.
Okay, here we are receiving data. Okay, it's a key and it is value. Okay, this is the key and this is value. This is the key and these are values. Okay, now instead of printing everything, if you want only a data, okay, So basically here we're here, right, in the CSV specs. In the output, as I was showing, it is in the format of key value. So shall we able to get this data? So we can use dot data itself, dot data. Okay, so it will give only this particular value. This particular part it will print. Okay, if we can see here, it is one array containing 3 values. This is another array containing 3 values. This is another array containing 3 values. But these total things are considered in an array of data. Okay, data array contains all these things. Now let's run it. But before running it, just guess how can we access a value from a data? Sorry, from an array. Any guess?
Zero.
Give?
Using index.
Index.
Okay, so index starts with
0.
So here what would be the 0?
0 would be Karthik, Chercher Tech, and 11 months.
Okay, so where let's print both of them.
0.
Okay, 0 and the complete data. Okay. Now if I run, it should print the complete data and as well as the first row in the data. Okay, now here we were printing with the index of 0 as the first row. So remaining thing, okay, here we have received this particular values only, the data values. Okay, now this particular is data of 0. Now does it look like an array again?
Yes.
Yes.
So is there any way to access the array again?
Dot data 0 0.
Okay, 0 0. Okay,
it
now
it will print first value.
right. So any doubt on this one?
No.
No, right? Okay, so let me run it. Okay, is it printing?
Yes.
Okay. So, and one more thing I want to ask. So, what other property a array can have? One is based on indexes, we can handle all the values. Okay, based on assignments, we can change the values, equal sign. So, is it possible to get a data? The length of the array?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so in
Dot length.
dot length. Okay, so this is the thing.
This does not have that. I mean, when we put dot, this doesn't come as a suggestion length.
No, it didn't come. It didn't come as a suggestion. We are going with some other packages, right? So
Okay.
sometimes it may or may not give.
Mm-hmm.
So just you need to remember them.
Okay.
That is one way. So if consider like if you are not sure of one particular data, just you print them. Okay. Print them without appending with a string. That is important. Okay, you should not append with any other string or anything value, because the moment you print with a string or something, it prints object.
Okay.
Okay, so if I can get a length of this particular data, so here what is the length actually means here?
I think length will be 3.
Okay, so what it points, columns or rows?
Rows.
Okay. It is rows. If I put index of 0 then dot length, what would be it? What will be the result if I change it to like this one?
Again it will be 3.
This time it's pointing to
First row.
I didn't get you.
First row.
First row and
number of columns.
yes. So now if you have a number of columns or number of rows, okay, is it possible to iterate a particular row?
Yes.
For example,
Yes.
Yeah.
for
True for list.
let I equal to 0 and I plus plus, sorry, I less than, can I take it as a length of, consider like I want to go for number of rows. Okay, now I'm going to read only a specific column. Here we have the names, right? 3
Yes.
names. So let's print that particular names alone. Okay, so now we will be iterating everything, but we have to print it, right? So let's bring the print statement. And so here what we need to write, just give a guess, like how the data will come. So this is your complete structure, what this data is going to return. This CSV values dot data is going to return this one. Now guess, I want only this particular column, Karthi, Sanjay, Loka, these 3 values, the first
Right.
column.
We need
I just put I of 0.
no I and then 0.
I and 0. Sorry.
Yeah.
I and then
a 0.
0.
Will it give the all these values?
It will give Karthi, Sanjay, and Luka.
Okay, let's see. So there is no other prints, only this is the only print we are going to do. So it was able to print these 3 values, Karthi, Sanjay, Loka. Okay, any doubt on this, guys?
No.
Okay, so for example, otherwise around, let's bring this loop outside, out of this module. Okay, and bring this CS. Let's remove this values and just keep this only particular reading part and assign this value into something which is called CSV values. Okay, now what I'm doing is like I'm bringing the values outside of that particular block. Okay, rather than using inside. If we're going for inside, means it will be like a bit difficult to access if you want to access something outside that particular block. So here I am trying to print outside. Will it give the same output?
Yes.
Let's try. Is it giving? Okay. Now you might have seen sometimes not only this commas, sometimes you may have a different separators, right?
Yes.
You may have something like this, or you may have tabs. Okay, for example, let's consider the greater than sign. So when we have other symbols, what we have to do is we have to add one specific parameter to the reading of this CSV model. Okay, when we read a particular string, so this is going to be our string which we want to convert into comma separator or into a array of arrays. Okay, now we want to go with some other delimiter rather than going with comma. So how to achieve it? So we have to provide a delimiter. Okay, delimiter, and it always takes key and values. Okay, so the value is the greater than sign. Okay, now by default it takes comma, but now onwards it will take this greater than sign as a separator.
Pawan, this delimiter is a keyword or we define?
We don't define them. This belongs to keyword. Basically, this pop-up bars.
Okay.
Okay. So some of the things you might not be able to, go here. Okay, like other other products. So what you have to do is you have to visit this npm repository. Okay, so from the npm repository we'll be able to get to know all the details, like what are the things it accepts. Even I was not knowing for while writing these tutorials, that time only I got to know like how to handle different cases. Okay, so now we are separating all the values using angular braces. Now let's run. This time, rather than printing the names, I want to go for first row rather than the 0th row. It says undefined. Go with the comma. Sorry, singular first row. Okay, just give a second. Just trying to print everything. Rather than data, it's trying to print all the values. Okay, so it is okay. Let's ignore as of now. We'll come back to this one again. So sometimes you will have what do you call, sorry, here you might have a headers. Okay, header is nothing but to denote that what kind of values this particular column contains. Okay, so here the headers also follows the same format like what we were doing previously. Sorry. So it is something like header names, comma, sorry, let's change back it to commas. Names, comma, basic, comma, age. Okay, for example, consider this one. Now we have a name, designation, and age. For moment's sake, I'm writing. Okay, 28 days. Don't consider like your 28 days. Okay. Now, when we have that particular, header, we have to explicitly denote this parser that we have a header. Okay. For that, we will be using header, and then we will be providing true. Okay. So we have to say that we have a header and ignore the header. Okay. Now, if it works fine, what it should print is, it should only try to print the values from this one. It should ignore the header. Let's try to print it. Okay, something messy is happening. We are reading it. Let's try to print the complete one. Why we are receiving undefined? So we are getting all the details, but still
something thrice.
Yeah, 3 times it got printed. It's okay. Sanjay, you were saying something else?
Yeah, it's because of the loop it printed
3 times. Okay. So if you want to access a specific header, okay, we can go for a specific header as well. Okay, for example, if you want to read only a particular header, means you have to provide that particular field name from here. Here we have page, right? So we have to provide this particular header so that it will print only that particular values. Okay, I'll explain why. Just iterate it. Here what I missed is like, sorry, we have to add the the row number. We have to add. So it was trying to print all the ages, like from the first row print age, from the second row print age, and third row print age. Okay, so at the same time, let me add delimiter as well. It should work fine. Okay, except delimiter it works fine, but delimiter is alone, it's not working. Okay, but let's try to print it actually. So rather than printing the complete one, let me print only the data. So not data actually, the total file, so that we'll get to know the informations like what is the metadata and what is the splitters and what are the things. Okay, type delimiter, undetectable delimiter. Okay, it was not able to detect the character.
Is it spelling mistake?
I didn't get you.
Is it because of spelling? Delimiter spelling? Am I?
Yes, I didn't say it.
Is it case sensitive?
It is not case. It is case sensitive. Yes.
So
If you
do
want to
we?
provide. No, actually, in the first case, it's not case sensitive actually.
Okay.
Okay. So we can go with the small dates of, and let's see. Now what we want to print is we want to print the data of first row and 0th column are something with names. Okay. So we are expecting now the names to be printed: Karthi, Sanjay, and Loka. So let me execute. So here we are using header and delimiter. Actually, that was a spelling mistake. Yes. Okay, it works fine. So any guess on how to write these files? CSV files.
No.
It is something like, whatever the file you are going to write, you can write it. Just you have to make it a comma separated. Okay. For example, if I want to write something like this one, something like let str equal to x comma y comma z. If I have this string, can I store it as a CSV file? This particular value as a CSV file. So for that one, what you have to is you have to use file system, right? File sync. Okay. So you have to pass the file name. Okay. File name could be anything. For a moment's sake, I'll use the same place and write data. Okay. And then we have to provide what data we are going to write. Okay. Will it write a CSV file or not?
Should we give str or x? I mean, we can give str as well, right?
Sorry, yes. str itself we can give. Okay. So basically here our target data.
Okay.
Okay. Let me run it. So on the files, it should be there. So this is the file we are trying to write. So it is there. The data is there.
So it will create a file by name CSV write data and then write it.
Yes. If it is there, it will override it.
Override. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to preserve, then is there any keyword?
Preserve in the sense like you want to keep the old data and append it. Right?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm not sure, but we'll see that one also.
Okay.
Not in today, but
Okay.
normal file reading class we will see. Okay. So any doubt on CSV files other than this one? So yeah,
here, so we can have one more for. Can you scroll up?
here. Okay.
Okay. Here we can have one more for loop. If you want to print everything, then the condition will be CSV values dot data of I, and then
So here you are saying data of I
dot length.
I dot length. Okay.
And then here it should be, sorry, it should be j equal to 0.
Okay, j equal to 0 and all
j,
the everything becomes jr other variable. Okay.
And data of I comma j ij, then it will print everything, right? Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So in what format you want to print, that is also important. Okay. So now just guess what format it prints.
Does it print one below the other?
Yes. Did not it print? It did not print. Okay, CSV values. Repeating of data of I. data of say 1 of 0 of 0. It should print it. Let's rerun it. Okay, did not print. Let's see why it's not printing. Okay, for example, let's remove the header for this purpose. Okay, and then run it. Okay, it is printing. If you can say everything got printed.
Yeah.
Okay, including the headers. So for example, if you want to print it as a string or something, okay, you might need like a comma, something like that. Then you can go with the new variables. No, not actually. You cannot even go with the new variables. Okay, so you have to print it line by line only here. Okay, so for example, you have I. Okay, so it gives you a what it gives array or a list. Okay, data of I. Now if you want to print it as a string, like if you want to print it as a commas, so now if I print this one, let's see what we get. It gives you like yeah, array and comma separated values, all three values, all three rows actually. Okay, we got all the things in the format of this one. But sometimes what you might expect is you want these values something like this. If you are expecting something this way, right? This is the way. If you want, means what you have to do is you have to put a dot and you know, maybe it's not giving you suggestions, but what when you work with this TypeScript and JavaScript, you will get to know like all the methods. Okay, so it is called join with what? Okay, it will ask. So for example, join with angular braces. So I'm using greater than sign. So it should print now as like the first row angular braces, second row angular braces, third row. That's it. But it should print it as a string. Okay, it will print it as a string rather than as arrays. Okay. So is it possible to bring these values into a browser?
Yeah, we should print.
Okay, we will be able to print, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the same, just we are reading data. So there, wherever we have like URL or whenever we want to set a value or whenever we want to read values, something like read a locator or something, we can read it and then we can use it.
Yes.
Okay. So any other doubts now?
No point.
No problem.
Okay, so today we are just seeing this how to read and write the CSV files. So writing we did not see much because whatever the string, if you have a comma separated, we can write it into a file with a .csv extension. It becomes normally the CSV format. Okay, so if you have only writing operations, means no need to install this pop-up parser also. Okay, but the thing is like just know. Okay, just let me ask, like how will you read the file, CSV file, okay, without using pop-up parser? Give me
direct,
steps.
like we'll import the fs module and we'll directly read with the file file sync, file fs read sync.
Okay. But do we need to convert the red one into a string? How do we convert?
No, UTR-8 will do. Sorry,
Yeah. So
UTR, right? Sorry.
not UTR, UTF.
UTF-8. Yeah.
So it's nothing but unified coding.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one make your buffer into your string format.
String format. Yeah.
Okay. And then you can have if you have delimiters, you can have a delimiter parameter, and then you can provide different parameters so that you will be able to read them based on custom delimiters. Okay. So but before doing that kind of part, what you have to do is just try to print the total object. Okay, so here we have object, right? So ignore this one and just use this format. Just try to print the total object. You will get to know like most of the information about that particular CSV file.
Okay.
Okay, just running it. Here you can see like what is the delimiter, line break, and remaining values like here it shows like error. Okay, error is nothing but like delimiter is not given, so it will take like comma delimiter, and then it is a metadata. So this is a key and this is the values for that key. If you want to retrieve only meta, you can get the meta also just by putting meta. Okay, similarly you can get the errors. Okay, something else here.
Pawan, without this pop-up part, so we cannot read, right? Single row, single array.
Why can't we?
We can read it.
Okay, let's try that one.
Yeah.
So here it just printed this metadata, if you can see it. Okay, so consider the same file. Okay, let's remove this pop-up parts. Okay, now we have this particular format. If you
Maybe
print,
we'll
it
return
will print the total thing, right?
Okay.
So
I got it. Yeah.
now you have to split it based on the new lines first.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, if you split new lines, you will get like first value as this one, second value, third value, fourth value. Okay, now again you split these values using comma or any given delimiter, so that you will get two ways. Okay, so Sanjay, as sometime back he was telling, like if we use two loops, we will get two different values, all the values basically row by column. Okay, so that's all for the day. If you have any doubts, just ask me, or you can ask tomorrow also on this one.
Okay.
Okay, because mostly we will not be using Excel files. Okay, we'll see it tomorrow, but you know, it is better to use CSV files in most of the places, and it's lightweight compared with your Excel files. Okay. Okay, guys, then.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.